Hey babies, hey babies. Hi everyone, hi everyone. Football season, everybody. It happened. It happened. And it started off with a bang, a loogie. What an amazing start to the season. Wow.
We are so back. Like, we could not be more back after one game in the season. You couldn't have predicted that from a million miles away.
I saw somebody tweet, like, the tweets are amazing, like right off the bat. And they're like, tell me who thought a week ago that Micah Parsons and Jalen Carter would not play a single snap in this game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
What a ridiculous start. It's the best. It's the best. This is why the NFL is the best.
It's the king. Because every game, every moment, if you're paying attention, you will find crazy things that happen. And last night was a ridiculous opener, spit and rain. I saw some Philadelphia person tweet out, the last time they won Super Bowls, both of the openers were delayed by rain and lightning. I'm like, oh God, that's a bad sign. I will get into the Commanders in a minute, and you're going to hear from John Keim. Our first weekly visit with him will be coming up a little bit. Not on YouTube, it's not on video, but if you're listening to the show live or the podcast, you will hear from him here. I would say this, like, the Jalen Carter thing's ridiculous that happened last night. I don't think he'll get suspended. Like I would treat it as he kind of was last night. For all the people who wrote soft, okay, like after it happened when they kicked him out, one, are you kidding? Like, you cannot do that. I did like the Zapruder tape later in the game where they found that Dak had kind of spit first, not at him, but kind of did it and almost like had a smile on his face when he did it, almost like he knew he was goading him into this. I also will tell you, Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott and he didn't even flinch. Like that was crazy that happened. So one, the NFL actually did the right thing not the referees. You can't let somebody do that. So everybody who's like soft suspension, like soft, ejection. What are you talking about? Like, you can't do that. So they did the right thing, unfortunately, last night.
No, and on the Dak front, the Dak one just seemed like that was something that he does. It didn't look like he was trying to do it like at Jalen Carter directly. Because my joke was, if he was trying to spit on Jalen Carter, he would have spit on Jalen Carter. Like, you don't half-ass that one. Like, that's what I'm getting at on that one. And with Carter being suspended, people that have rooted for this team for a long time, literally 20 years ago, Sean Taylor spit on Michael Pittman in a playoff game and they ejected him. So that has actually been a thing that has happened that I remember. And I thought what was actually crazy was we didn't know why he was ejected for about 2 minutes. And I was like, what did he say to him? Like, how did he say something to him that the ref ejected him there? All around, to steal a phrase from our friend Doc Walker, low IQ individual. How are you going to spit at somebody with the ref right in front of you and the sky camera right there? Every camera is on you guys because you haven't played a snap yet. Just a ridiculous, stupid thing for him to do all around.
Yes. On the Nolan Smith one where he got a taunting penalty. Let me just tell you, because the NFL does this every year where they put together a presentation of rule changes and points of emphasis. And it was made very clear, and I talked about it on the broadcasts, that they're not going to tolerate anything that they think is taunting. If you make any kind of sexual gesture, if you make any kind of weaponry gesture, even bows and arrows, things like that, and if you do anything, step over a player, anything like this, they told you they're going to do it. So for those who went crazy about that, he was warned. I was warned. Every team was warned. We had multiple presentations that talked about this. You don't have to like it that they're doing it, but they told you they're going to. So I wasn't surprised that one happened at all. And I thought Mike Tirico verbalized that last night, that look, you don't have to like this, but this is what they were told. As for the game itself, I thought Dallas's offense was better than I expected it to be. Honestly, if CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a bunch of drops late in the game, they might have stolen it and won. As for their defense, it got better actually after the rainstorm, but they were a sieve early. And I don't know that I want to go too crazy about what the long-term look is for them, but they don't look any better against the run, in my opinion. It got better as it went along when Landon Dickerson went out. He's been injured in the summer and had a reemergence of an injury, a back injury, had knee surgery in the summer. He went out. We'll see how long he's out for. Jordan Mailata oddly was beaten a few times last night. He's all pro left tackle. He was beaten a few times last night. There were just a few dings on the Eagles that were enough for me to feel like this is actually what I wanted to see. And especially on defense, their corners are a weakness, not Mitchell, but the other side is a weakness. Do they have playmakers up front, especially if Carter's out? Maybe it's different if Carter plays, but like, do they have the playmakers up front? They said they did when all these people left. I didn't see a ton of it last night. And again, if Lamb doesn't have a couple of what are clear drops, Dallas might have won last night, even with a defense that really I think showed what I thought it would be. You can still really run on them, and you're going to play a team like that, you're going to have big problems. So this honestly was as close to the best case scenario I was hoping for. Dallas's defense is going to be problematic, especially without playmakers. I'm not sure they're going to have a consistent run game. We'll find out. I thought Dak looked pretty good actually last night. And the Eagles, they do have weaknesses. Like, I don't know that they'll end up, carrying over through the whole season. I don't want to go hot takey, but it was very clear. Trust me on WIP today, they are very worried about that other side of the field because they were getting roasted if they didn't get any pressure on Dak.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to evaluate that defense without Jalen Carter. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Because Dallas, too, you saw in that first drive, there were a couple runs on that first drive. They went right to the middle, like ran right it up the gut. So I will say I have to take the whole entire game with a grain of salt, mainly because they were missing their best defensive player. What I will say on that, too, though, is it means other teams are going to try to go Jalen Carter into just getting pissed off now. I mean, that's a full-blown storyline now. I mean, we remember Albert Hainsworth, right? When he was with the Titans, that was kind of a thing. If you got him fired up, he would make mistakes and stuff like that. And that's where I feel like the playbook's going to be. As far as both teams went, though, on defense, especially in the first half, I just couldn't believe how bad both of them were. And I know they were missing Carter, but it's not like they don't have other good players on that Eagles defense. And then on Dallas's side, too, same thing. It's not like they've got nobody over there. So I was actually just more shocked at how well both offenses ran against the subsequent defenses. And all I could think of as a Commanders fan over here is Jaden's better than both of those quarterbacks. And if both of those defense don't clean up, I mean, we're looking at very interesting games when Washington matches up against both of those defenses too.
I thought Hurts played very well last night. I will say this though, and this is always a recurring problem with them. And I really don't understand it. Why the target share is so low for A.J. Brown doesn't make any sense to me. And we already know with history infuriates him.
Yes, right.
To the point where he'll make a deal of it.
Yep.
He'll go sit and act like he's disengaged. He'll read a book on the bench, or he'll say things about it. And it doesn't mean it's like, I want to get traded or anything like that. It's just hey, did you forget that you have, in my opinion, the best receiver on your team? And at least he in the league. And he's like, actually right, because last night I'm watching this going, why aren't you throwing the ball to him? Like everybody else in the world, like, I know you have a lot of weapons, you have a lot of choices, but why aren't you throwing the ball to him? That doesn't make it. Dallas never does this with CD. Last night he let them down, but he is a high target share receiver for a reason, because he's one of the best receivers. How A.J. Brown doesn't get at least 7 to 10 targets a game, I do not understand. So we'll see if that's a recurring theme. This was short of, I would have liked Dallas to have won, just because I like to see dings against the Eagles, because obviously I think they're going to be a contender by the end of all of it. But this was actually a pretty good scenario. I saw weaknesses. That's what I was hoping. That's all I wanted to see. Do they have different weaknesses with the things that they lost? And it appears that they do. So that's, I think, a good sign as we head into the season. As for our game this weekend, I'll do a preview with Kime. Let me give you my thoughts now, because we'll run down the rest of week one later, and you'll hear a lot of my thoughts with Kime. But here are just a few. One, in researching the Giants, I just assumed that Russ is an annoying person for them, just like he's been everywhere else that he's been. But it's not the case up there. I've talked to a couple people that cover the Giants, and they're like, actually, from day one, they love him around here, that they really, really, really love him. And, everybody sees what Dart did in the preseason and thinks, he is the future. And Russ is only on a 1-year deal. but don't get this twisted that they don't think he should be the starter or that he can't be. Here's what I saw in the preseason with him, though, and I'm not surprised by this. Dart has got a big arm. He's not scared to use it, and he's going to take chances eventually when he plays. Russ is going to play it close to the vest. He's going to dump it down a lot. There's going to be ball control, and every once in a while, he's going to take a shot. And therein lies the big thing that's going to happen with the Commanders. They got beat by him a year ago on a deep shot. Granted, different team, on a deep shot. But this is it to me with him. He's not going to take a lot of them. He's going to protect the ball. He, throughout his career, is not a turnover machine. So it's hard to get a lot of turnovers out of him outside of a mistake here or there. But he will take shots. And that's the whole game to me here. I can't envision, just the way our defense performed in the summer and looking at the matchup, I would have a hard time believing we get scored on a lot here, or that the Giants move the ball really, really, really effectively. And Russ is kind of become a game manager more than anything. But what he can do is hit a couple of, he's got as good an accurate arm on these deep shots, specifically down the sideline. Those don't happen, we win. Those do happen, we're in trouble. That's how I feel about it.
No, I mean, I think you go back to even what Russ did last year with the Steelers. He completed a couple of those, what I was calling rainbow passes, where he just chucked them up and guys like Pickens would end up doing it. Now he's got a better wide receiver in Neighbors that he might do that. But I'm with you. He's gonna, be the quote unquote game manager. That's why Pittsburgh faltered at the end of last year, because he wasn't winning games anymore. He was just game managing.
Correct.
I really like on their offense versus the Washington defense. I actually really like the matchups here. I think the defensive line should be okay, but I really like the secondary matchup. If you just worry about Neighbors, I think you'll be okay. This is why I think it's screaming towards a little bit lower scoring in this game. But
100%.
I'm not surprised that this is what Russ is now. This is what most good quarterbacks become later in their career that are not, I don't know if he is. I don't think he's a future Hall of Famer, but you know what I mean. The guys that are surefire lock Hall of Famers, they don't just fall off of a cliff.
I think for the other side, protection is huge, and it's everything here. Cliff Kingsbury said this yesterday. I feel this way. I agree with him, and I've been talking about this for a month. Just go look at the roster that they put out there. He said this is probably the best front we'll face all year, and I agree with that. Dexter Lawrence is the most disruptive defensive tackle in the NFL. They have 3, we think, with Abdul Carter. He's making his, debut, but best defensive player off the board, best defensive end in college football a year ago. Let's assume he's good and not a bust, right? They have 3 premier pass rushers, including, of the 3, Brian Burns. It doesn't get talked about enough. He's a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL, period, right? It's like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, probably Trey Hendrickson, Bosa, him. He is among these people. So Josh Connerly's starting. This is a new offensive line. They haven't really played a lot together, throughout the course of the summer and the preseason. This screams to me, this team actually wants to run the ball. 1, slow them down. 2, let's get everybody's feet wet a little bit together and not let things go haywire, because I love the way Connerly grew. This is a very tough welcome to the NFL matchup for him, in the same way that Neighbors is a very tough welcome to the NFL potential matchup for Amos, depending how it ends up, where he ends up on the field. Connerly can't hide from Burns, Thibodeau, or Carter, and specifically Burns. So I feel like Washington's going to try to run the ball more, maybe with a lot of misdirection, try to slow them down. Terry didn't practice very much. Noah Brown didn't practice very much. This screams run the ball a lot. And that's what I think is going to happen this weekend, that they're going to try to control the clock a little bit more. If they have some explosive plays off of it, awesome. But I think they're going to try to control the clock a little bit more. And I agree. I think this is why this ends up being a low-scoring game.
No, it's also going to be a run type game, because I think we're going to see some RPO here to try to freeze up that front 7. That's how you do that in today's NFL. And when you have a guy like Jaden, you can actually freeze them up. It's not like you're doing this with a quarterback that can't run here. So I expect this to be run heavy. I also think so too, with it being a possibly low scoring game. Like you and I have been talking about this. I know they can only take it one game at a time, but you know how this goes too. You probably have to be a little more conservative with a game coming up on Thursday too. I know you just try to win this game. I know you have to try to win this game by any means, but if you can do this by running the clock out, using your running backs, because you have 4 of them that you believe in and you go that route, that is a way to kind of conserve your energy a little bit heading into Thursday too.
I am excited to see Debo's role. We'll get to really see it for the first time. How much of an extension of the run game is he? How much of the movable part is he? Is he the force multiplier? Is he the guy that tried to change the defensive formation to show Jaden what's coming? I think he's got a lot of roles here. So I'll just leave it at that. I'm very excited to see game 1 with him and what they really intend to do with him.
Yeah, no, I think he's been the X factor all summer long, right? In terms of what we're actually going to see from him. And honestly, I thought it was funny that they even gave him an end around in preseason. I know that's not like some like groundbreaking thing they did there, but even I was like, oh, they're even already revealing that he's going to be a little bit of a gadget player. I can't wait to see, honestly, the combination of him and Eckler, maybe another running back. I think this offense has the potential to be really chaotic, and it's because of guys like him and Eckler that can do both run and catch the ball.
Yep. And just last thing, I'll just reiterate, just win. I don't care what the score is. I've been feeling this way for weeks because I wasn't sure what the offense would look like early in the season. And I know what that defensive front is for the Giants. And, I actually feel better that we're playing Russ than Dart, because I think Dart's can chuck the ball down the field and he hit a few big plays. And all of a sudden you're in a weird situation with a really good pass rush team. You don't want to play from behind with a team like that. I think this is going to be a game managed game, Russ included. So I don't care what the score is. I don't need them to win 35-10 to feel good about it. They walk out of there winning 13-12. I'll be happy. Just win the game. No style points needed. Let's get to Green Bay.
Yeah, 100%. And this is also just what screams week 1 too. Like last night, I remember looking, going into this into the Cowboys Eagles game. Spread last night was 8.5. It's the first week of the season, guys. Like, even the good teams do not blow anyone out here. This screams low score to me. It's been screaming low scoring to me. I think this is like a Commanders win by like 4 to 6 points, something like that. And I don't think that's indicative.
That's what happened in both games last year, by the way.
Right. True. No, exactly. And so that's not indicative of like how bad the Commanders are or how good the Giants are. This is just what it is early in the season, and it's a divisional game. Look at what happened last night. This is just what happens.
100%. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, you're going to see our picks for week 1. Well, not picks, but like our takes on week 1. And if you're listening to the radio or the podcast, preview week 1 weekly visit with ESPN's John Keim. Brad, watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. Let's go through it. Week 1, we've already had one result. Eagles beat the Cowboys last night. Tonight in Brazil, second year in a row, it's Chiefs and Chargers. One thing, just visually, I know it's the Chargers home game, but I do love that both end zones have the 2 teams on it. It's got that international feel, and apparently that's going to happen at all the international games. So when they play in Madrid, the Commanders, you'll see Dolphins in one end zone, Commanders in the other. I think that's actually very cool. This one, because of the travel, because it's such a weird start, because it's a division game, I actually don't know. I really just don't. That really, for me, I would probably feel a little differently if it was either in Kansas City or LA. But for all of those reasons, pass. Like, I really actually just kind of don't know what's going to happen here. Is Taylor Swift in Brazil? Are they going to show her? Is she? I don't know. What's the pomp and circumstance behind all of this? What's the crowd like? Are they partial in any way? I don't know. So I really just kind of, because it's a division game more than anything, I really don't have a feel for this. So sorry, pass. I don't know.
I will say, to go back to last year, if you remember the Packers-Eagles game, remember it was one of those games that was slippery, right? So a lot of guys were falling down, or, we're not getting off the line of scrimmage well. So I think it's going to be a sloppy game in general.
Probably.
Give me edge Chiefs here, just because they've been in so many big games. I think they're going to be pissed off the Super Bowl. Just give me the Chiefs because they've been here before, and the Chargers haven't been able to step up to the plate at all. So I'll go Kansas City.
There is no weird scenario the Chiefs haven't been forced in the last 8 years.
Right.
So we'll see. But if it is a really sloppy, muddy, whatever, rainy, weird game, I would take the Chargers because of Harbaugh, and won't turn the ball over and all those types of things and control the clock. And that actually screams. That's the one thing that actually screams a low scoring game to me.
Yeah,
Chiefs
for
Chargers
sure.
tonight. So,
Yeah. No.
So
definitely.
we'll see what happens there. Okay, on Sunday. This is a good one. Bucks Falcons, early NFC South contender test. I don't buy New Orleans at all. I do buy that Carolina is going to be better, but I don't think they'll win the division over either one of these teams. So this is a good early start, and let's see how far Penix has come along. Like, this is his first. Last year, they thrust him into what I thought was a very difficult situation to ask him to go win games that would put them in the playoffs or not. Whole off season, year 2 for him. I'm very intrigued to see what he looks like on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what he looks like, but this is also not unlike what the Commanders did last year. This is a bad draw for the Falcons. The Bucs have been together for so long. I know they got another offensive coordinator, but between Baker, those offensive weapons, that defense always shows up every year. It's early on in the season. Bucs are going to win this one. Falcons, it's a bad draw for them because I just think the Bucs always have their you-know-what together to start a season.
Yeah, I agree. Bengals, Browns, I mean, the Bengals have made a point of we're not going to have another slow start. I had to do all this because we had them on Monday night in the preseason. They've started 0-2 or worse in the last 3 years. So they're hell-bent and determined not to do that again. I know it's a division game, but I think it's a pretty good draw, to not do that again. And because it's been such a point of emphasis, Bengals by a lot, actually. I think they're going to come out gangbusters. They played a lot in the preseason. They've made this a very important thing. I think the Bengals win handily here on Sunday.
The Bengals are on track to be the highest scoring offense. It starts out with a bang on Sunday. They have no problem with this one against the Browns. The vibes are not great in Cleveland. The vibes, I think, are better in Cincinnati for this one.
It's very rare that you get a week 1 game where you go, I'm not really sure this matters, but I'm not really sure this matters. With the Dolphins and the Colts, ultimately, I don't figure either one of them to be in division races, even though the Colts division is far more winnable than obviously Miami's is with with the Buffalo. I guess I'm somewhat interested in Dime's debut, but I'm not like, he's going to be their Tannehill. He'll have to prove it to me that that's the case. Again, I don't have a feel for what's going to happen with either one of these teams, so I couldn't tell you who I think is going to win. I just find this one interesting that, I'm not sure that either one of these teams, there's no buzz with either one of them that they're going to be a factor in any way at this point.
When in doubt, go look at the quarterback matchup. Tua is better than Dimes. I'll just roll with the Dolphins here. And it's in Indianapolis, if I'm correct, right? So if it's an indoor game, Tua will be fine. I'll lean Dolphins here, but I'm with you. I don't really know how relevant this game's going to end up being.
This one's a little bit different. I'm not sure. No one's picking the Raiders or the Patriots to win their division. However, I would describe it as an early look at potential wildcard contenders. I buy that both of them are going to be better than a year ago. Both of them are going to be better coached than a year ago. Both of them, Pete Carroll's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Vrabel had a great run in Tennessee and obviously is a New England legend. Both of them have way better quarterbacking situations. I know Drake May was there last year. He didn't start the season, remember? So this is year 2 for him. Geno is a way bigger upgrade from where the Raiders were a year ago. I'm interested. I want to see what Genti looks like for sure. And I think either one of these teams or both by the middle of the season could both improve greatly and be a factor, at least for the playoff chase.
This has the potential to be a really ugly game. I think just in terms of really low scoring, because I think both Carroll and Vrabel are that old school type coach. So they're going to try to run the ball. They both have young running backs. You have Travion Henderson on one side too. So I actually think both teams are going to try to run the ball. It's going to be low scoring. I lean Patriots here just because I like their roster a little bit better, but I could see this one going either way, especially if Geno gets a shot at the end of the game or something like that.
Cardinals. This is one of those, if you are serious and you are taking the 3rd-year leap, with a coach, you better win this game. I mean, there's nobody that thinks New Orleans is going to be a factor whatsoever this year. I know it's on the road and everything, but if you're a serious team, you go beat a team that clearly is going to have a bad record this year. If they don't, it's a bad sign of where things are going for the Cardinals. I'm assuming they're going to win. I think they're just a better team, and I'm assuming they're going to go out there and win.
Arguably the worst quarterback situation in the entire league. You should be able to handle this one. It might be ugly, but you should be able to handle it.
Get your ayahuasca ready, everybody. It's Pittsburgh and the Jets. Revenge of Raj and Fields. Fields gets to take on his old team. Raj gets to take on his old team. Raj has been very, very, very quiet throughout this offseason. Engagement / marriage, who knows? Maybe the drugs, they've calmed him. He's matured. It's partial Tomlin. It's partially why I'm kind of like, I'll buy into that this might be a late career resurgence for a year for him. And if that is the case, I know what their defense always is. So they'll be right where I expect them to be, contending for something. I think they're better than the Jets. I don't trust Fields yet. So I'll take Pittsburgh here. I think Pittsburgh knows Fields. Like, for crying out loud, I think the defense gets at least a couple of turnovers. Pittsburgh wins.
Pittsburgh wins this. I like their roster better than the Jets, too. I actually, like I said yesterday, we were picking divisions. I like the Jets' new energy with Glenn and some of the pieces they've got. We've talked about it. They have a talented roster. I just think Tomlin will have them buttoned up Pittsburgh a little bit more than the Jets. This will be another close one. Pittsburgh wins.
Carolina, Jacksonville both have hopes that they're going to improve. Jacksonville with a new head coach, good offensive coordinator from Tampa. Maybe he unlocks Trevor finally. Carolina, I went on a limb and said I think they'll slip in as the 7 seed as a wild card because I do think they're going to be better. I like their offensive line. I saw some signs of life out of Bryce Young at the end of the year. This is one of those monitor it. I don't think either one of them are true contenders, but one or both being a factor in the playoff race, especially in the AFC South with Jacksonville, all possibilities to me. So, let's see what we get on Sunday with these two.
I'm a Jacksonville hater, so give me Panthers here all the way. I liked what the Panthers did at the end of the year last year, too, where they were hanging with teams like the Chiefs. I don't know. I felt like they had some momentum here. Jacksonville, I continually call frauds. So until they're not, I'm going to keep picking against them.
Titans Broncos, we get Cam Ward's debut, so that'd be cool to see that. For the Broncos, I don't know why I had to answer a question about sophomore slump 8 million times about Jaden Daniels. Were they doing that in Denver with Bo Nix? I didn't hear a lot of that about him, so I don't know. I'll pick Denver. I think they might have the best defense in the NFL. They are at home here. I'm very interested to see what Cam Ward looks like with the real bullets flying. I'm very interested in his debut.
Same thing here. Broncos are a little bit more put together than the Titans. I'm same thing. Very intrigued by Cam Ward. He reminds me of Jaden in terms of how people are talking about him, what his attitude is out there. That's just a tough draw for week one. I don't like how Jaden had last year where they had to play the Bucs.
I don't love the Seahawks, but division game for the Niners. What if San Francisco starts slow? McCaffrey's on the injury list again. Ayuk's not playing. Jennings didn't practice all summer. What if they start slow? Give me Seattle on Sunday at home in what I would think is a mild upset.
Yeah, I would agree with you on this one. As I said yesterday, Seattle won 10 games last year. I know they shuffled the deck a little bit by shipping off Geno and getting Darnold, but that's still a very solid team over there. Give me Seattle on Sunday. I don't think that's much of an upset, honestly, with a divisional game and with the way that San Fran's injuries are stacking up.
Really good one. Lions, Green Bay, huge for the start of the NFC North. I can't imagine Detroit, even with this incredible roster, losing 2 coordinators. 15-2 seems preposterous to me. Here's an opportunity for Green Bay. I don't know how much Mike is going to play. We'll have to actually see what that looks like. Jordan Love, remember, had thumb surgery, offhand, didn't practice much at the end of the preseason. Lions admittedly didn't look good in the summer. I don't have a feel for it. It is in Lambeau. I kind of want them to win because I don't want them being 0-1 when we play them in Lambeau for week 2, because then I think that's just a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm kind of rooting for Green Bay actually here, but I don't really have a feel either way. I think they're both contenders. So I want to see what happens when they play each other.
I think Green Bay's energy is going to blow the Lions out of the water here. Look at what happened in their last game in the championship but the playoff game against the Commanders. Goff didn't look good. They've now lost both coordinators. Green Bay's at home. They traded for Micah. I just think there's too much to overcome here if you're Detroit. Don't get me wrong. Campbell's going to have him biting kneecaps, stuff like that. But I think Green Bay wins this home opener. The energy is just off the charts there.
Texans Rams to me is entirely about how healthy Matt Stafford is. If he's not, I think the Texans will go there and win. I think if he is, then who knows? But he hasn't practiced a lot, so it is in LA. I trust, McVay, but I know the Texans have a really good defense. And if Stafford is marginalized, give me Houston. So this is all about Matthew Stafford's health to me.
Yeah, same thing. If Stafford plays, Rams win. If he doesn't, Texans win. It's pretty simple for me.
And the last one to me, this is the AFC title preview. I think this is the year that we get both of them in the AFC title game. Bills, Ravens. One of them knocks the Chiefs out of the playoffs this year. And this will be the first time in years and years that Kansas City's not involved with it. So week one, we get a real showdown. I think they're contenders. I think it's hard to know in week one. I do like the Ravens a little bit, but I wouldn't know particularly why. Lamar did have his foot stepped on. I'm assuming he's fine.
He's off. He's off the injury report.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming he's fine. I don't know. I mean, it's week one. I don't think it means anything unless one of them gets blown out. I don't think it really means anything. I'm assuming we're going to see what feels like a playoff game Sunday night when they play each other. And I'll just give an edge to the Ravens for being at home.
I'll go Bills here. I think the Ravens shot themselves in the foot last time they played. I lean Bills with a league MVP in Allen, and they were supposed to be a reset team last year. Ended up being very, very good. Give me Bills here. But I think this is going to be I think we got our first instant classic of the year here. I think this is going to be a really close, really fun game, to be quite honest.
All right, everybody. And then Sunday, 1:00. Join us. I'll be on the call. London Fletcher, Logan Paulson, Commanders, Giants. We get 2025 started. Waited too long for this. Expectations are through the roof, as they should be, and hopefully we'll start to live up to it in week one, and I'll talk to you about it on Monday. Brad, watch the show. He's at 6:30, the Sports Capital.